I uncovered my husband's betrayal on his birthday and made the gutsiest choice any woman in the 1960s could dare. Good morning, sweet friends. I'm Charlotte, 80, 3 years young, and I'm about to open a chapter that rerouted my entire life. If you enjoy what you hear, please tap that like button. Hit subscribe to Grandma's Diary and drop a quick note telling me where you're tuning in from. I'm forever curious about the hearts listening in. Back in 1965, I was 23, wed 5 years to Benjamin, and raising 2 little ones, Mary, 4, and John, just 2. We called a tiny Nebraska town home, one of those tight, knit places where gossip outruns the breeze. Picture a charming square where folks mingled after Sunday service, a single-screen theater still months behind the city releases, and days that unfolded with the seasons. Our modest house sat 3 blocks from the center. Nothing fancy, but spotless. I'd stitched white lace curtains myself, planted roses and daisies out front, and kept a backyard patch of herbs and vegetables. It was ours, earned through sweat and scrimping. Benjamin was the town bank's accountant, respected, always crisp in dark suits and pressed ties. Every dawn, he'd kiss the kids' heads, grab the coffee I'd brewed before the rooster crowed, and stride out at 7:30 with his leather briefcase. I beamed watching him go, proud that our home ran like clockwork for his return. You have to understand, a woman's world back then was worlds apart from today. I'd finished only junior high. My father insisted book learning was wasted on girls destined for marriage and motherhood. So at 18, fresh from meeting Benjamin at a church picnic, I said, I do. He was 30, steady, a prize in my parents' eyes. My days revolved around sunrise chores. Breakfast on the table, kids dressed, floors swept, laundry starched, hem sewn, meals simmering, garden tended. By the time Benjamin walked in, dinner waited. Children were scrubbed, and I'd refreshed my hair and slipped into a clean dress. My mother-in-law, Mrs. Elizabeth, inspected us every Sunday and declared, "A wife is measured by her husband's shine and her children's manners." I made sure both gleamed. Benjamin's shirts were the brightest in town. Our simple rooms sparkled. I thought we were content. Benjamin wasn't lavish with words or hugs, but he provided stability and standing. He'd surprise me with a ribbon, a bar of scented soap, fabric for a new skirt, small tokens I cherished as proof he noticed me. Sundays we filed into church as a picture-perfect quartet, me in a homemade dress and discreet hat, white gloves crisp, the kids angelic, Benjamin impeccable. Afterward, lunch at the in-laws or guests at our table. Life was predictable, safe, or so I believed. Evenings, once the children slept, were hushed. He scanned the paper, I embroidered or prepped tomorrow's outfits. We spoke little. Men of that era rarely bared feelings or burdens to their wives. Money, politics, work were men's territory. Then March 1965 shifted everything. The bank hired Alice, a 25-year-old secretary fresh from Chicago, armed with typing certificates and city polish. She boarded with her widowed aunt, a longtime town fixture. Benjamin first mentioned her over Sunday roast. Sharp girl, bringing fresh systems to our filing chaos. I smiled, unbothered. Praise for a colleague seemed harmless. Yet I caught Mrs. Elizabeth flick a knowing glance at her husband, the silent language of long married couples. Soon Alice's name peppered every supper. Benjamin raved about her innovations, the manager's delight. I nodded politely, suspicion still miles away. April brought the first cracks. Benjamin drifted home later, first 15 minutes, then an hour. File overhaul, he'd say, or urgent report. I reheated plates, kept smiles warm, trained to be the supportive wife. May sharpened my senses. A cloying perfume, not the cologne I gifted him, clung to his collars. Faint lipstick smudges became ink accidents or lunch jam. Phone calls left him fidgety. He'd lower his voice or end them the moment I stepped near. I scrubbed harder, scolded myself for foolish notions. Benjamin was pillar of the community, fathers didn't stray. Still the clues mounted. He lingered at the mirror, doubled the aftershave, fielded Sunday, bank emergencies, in whispers. Evening meetings materialized out of thin air. Anxiety coiled inside me, but I confided in no one. Marital storms stayed locked indoors. Airing them invited shame. What if I was lacking? What would church tongues whisper? June delivered the blow. The town fair, our yearly carnival, shut the bank early. Benjamin forgot the lunch I'd packed. On impulse, I carried it over, hoping to delight him. The lobby echoed empty. Most staff had scattered to the festivities. I slipped through the staff door, lunch basket swinging. Muffled voices drifted from the file room. Curious, not sneaky, I edged closer. The door stood ajar. There was Benjamin, arms cinched around Alice's waist, kissing her with a hunger I'd never tasted in 5 years. Sweet promises spilled from his lips, vows he'd never breathed to me. I backed away unseen, basket untouched, heart in shards. I wandered home in a daze, the fair's music a distant blur. That evening I served roast and potatoes as if the world still spun. We chatted about the kids, the carousel, the pie contest. He never mentioned Alice, the bank, or the forgotten meal. I smiled through the ache. Lying beside his steady breathing that night, I replayed every shortfall. Was I dull, plain, lacking spark? Dawn found no answers, only exhaustion. The following days I moved through chores on autopilot. Meals, laundry, lullabies, while something vital inside me fractured. Trust, safety, the illusion of solidity. Gone in one stolen embrace. I craved proof beyond my own eyes. One June afternoon, with the children at mother's and Benjamin at work, I crossed a line I'd never imagined. The house ticked in silence. Hands shaking, I entered his study, a dim nook smelling of pipe smoke and bay rum. In 5 years I'd never rifled his things, good wives didn't. But betrayal trumped etiquette. The middle drawer refused to budge. A locked drawer in our own house, where only I and 2 toddlers could ever reach, sent a chill straight through me. Then I recalled Benjamin's spare key tucked inside the window, boxed geranium. My fingers found it in the soil, cool and gritty, and the lock clicked open like a confession. Beneath routine bank folders lay a butter, yellow envelope. Inside sheets of lilac-scented stationery, looping cursive that wasn't mine. Alice's words too. My dear Ben, a nickname I'd never used. I still taste you from the hotel. My stomach lurched. Hotel. I dug deeper. Receipts from the Starlight Inn 20 miles away. Every Friday for 3 months. The same nights he'd claimed. Client dinners. Stubborn movie tickets from the Palace Theater. Films he never mentioned. A velvet jewel case cradling a gold butterfly brooch I'd never seen on my dresser. I sank into his chair, the proof heavier than any ledger. Months of deceit while I starched shirts and braided Mary's hair. Tears came, but they burned with fury, not just grief. I felt played for a fool, my whole world a stage set. Carefully I restored every item, locked the drawer, buried the key. No one would guess. Yet, I needed time to think, to choose my next move. The following weeks I moved like a ghost through chores. Breakfast, laundry, lullabies. Watching Benjamin with new, sharpened eyes. Every late night, every hushed call, every careless lie glowed obvious now. He never noticed the storm behind my smile. July crept in, and with it his 35th birthday on the 15th, a Thursday. Over supper he mused about a small gathering, family, a few bank friends. Bank friends. Alice. Bile rose, but I beamed. Of course, darling, let's make it special. That instant the plan took root. If he wanted a party, he'd have one the town would never forget. I scrimped on groceries to fund it. Invited not just kin but church ladies, neighbors, the mayor's wife, anyone whose tongue could carry news. I stitched a sky blue dress that skimmed my waist and brought out my eyes, not for him but for the woman I still was. The parish hall bloomed with my own roses and daisies. Borrowed linens draped the tables. Mrs. Louise baked savory bites, but the cake, that would be the centerpiece. At Joe's Bakery I ordered a towering chocolate masterpiece, Benjamin's favorite. Write exactly this, I instructed, sliding a note across the counter. Joe's brow creased, but he nodded and pocketed the paper. The night before the party Benjamin phoned at 8, Bank emergency. Don't wait up. The bank closed at 4. I knew where he really was. I hung up, calm as winter glass. Thursday dawned golden. Benjamin left unsuspecting. The children and I festooned the hall with balloons. At 3 I collected the cake, boxed like a secret. Joe lifted the lid for one last check. You sure, Mrs. Charlotte? Never surer. Guests trickled in at 7. I'd told Benjamin only family dinner. My brother-in-law would fetch him on a pretext. Alice arrived in a scarlet dress that hugged every curve, hair sculpted, lips matching the fabric. She offered a syrupy smile. Lovely decorations. Need help? The nerve. I answered coolly, all under control. 8 o'clock Benjamin stepped in, stunned by the crowd. He recovered fast, shaking hands, accepting cheers. His gaze flicked to Alice, a spark only I caught. For 2 hours the party swirled, music, laughter, clinking glasses. At 10 I dimmed the lights. Cake time! I glided to the kitchen, set 35 candles blazing, and carried the masterpiece to the center. Benjamin's grin faltered as he read the piped chocolate script. Happy birthday, love from Alice. A silence crashed like a dropped tray. Eyes darted. Cake to Benjamin, to me to Alice, whose face drained chalk white. The bank manager, Mr. Augustus, stiffened. Alice's glass slipped, shattering. I lifted my chin. Please sing. Voices rose, awkward and thin. When the last note died, I set the cake down and met Benjamin's eyes. I thought truth deserved a public toast. The tickets, the letters, the hotel receipts. Second drawer, remember. My mother-in-law gasped. My father stepped close, protective. Alice's father seized her wrist, fury blazing. Benjamin opened his mouth, nothing came. Mr. Augustus murmured, my office Monday, 8 sharp, both of you. I sliced cake, offering pieces to stunned guests. Some refused, some took forks like life rafts. Within 20 minutes the hall emptied. Home was a tomb. The children slept. Benjamin cornered me. Momentary lapse, he pleaded. I love you. Family first. I cut him off. Months of lapses in that drawer while I raised your children. The town knows now. Good night. I shut the children's door behind me. Dawn brought the telephone's shrill ring. My mother, Charlotte, the scandal. No word of his betrayal, only my breach of silence. Call after call echoed the same. In 1965 a wife swallowed poison and smiled. I'd spat it out. Yet beneath the shame a wild freedom stirred. I'd seized the reins. Monday Benjamin left hollow-eyed for the bank. At 10 Mr. Augustus summoned me. I dressed with care. Navy skirt, crisp blouse, chin high. Whispers followed me down Main Street. In his oak-paneled office he wasted no words, both dismissed. The bank's reputation demands it. A flicker of sympathy crossed his face. I'm sorry for your family. I walked home strangely lighter. Justice tasted sharp, but hunger loomed. Benjamin sat slumped in the armchair. I ask you. You've ruined us, he spat. No, I said, voice steady. You ruined us. I just stopped the bleeding. Days blurred into brittle quiet. He haunted bars, I mended clothes and counted coins. Town opinions split, elders tossed my scene. Younger wives sent shy nods of awe. Mrs. Elizabeth arrived starched and stern. A wise wife forgives and forgets. I threaded my needle. I choose truth over pretend. My children will learn dignity. She flounced out, predicting divine wrath. That night Benjamin announced a factory job 120 miles away. Fresh start, come with me. I studied the man I'd once orbited. No, I stay. Shock, then rage. You'll starve. Think of the children. I am thinking of them. They'll see a mother who values herself. He begged, threatened, enlisted my parents. My father drew me to the garden. Life's brutal for a woman alone. I touched a blooming rose. Better brutal truth than pretty lies. His rough hand squeezed my shoulder, subject closed. August rain drummed the morning Benjamin left. 2 suitcases, a stiff hug for the children, a curt nod for me. The door shut. Terror and triumph collided. 23. No skills, 2 babies, 2 months' rent in an envelope. I started knocking on doors. Shopkeepers shook heads. No openings for ladies. But I kept knocking. Steeled myself for the next. Shopkeepers who'd toasted Benjamin's birthday now pretended not to see me. They'd been there, forks frozen mid-air, when the cake revealed everything. Hiring the woman who aired her husband's shame. Too risky. Neighbors crossed the street. Church pews rustled with whispers. Mary's playmates vanished. Mothers suddenly busy. Then Mrs. Connie, the widowed librarian next door, poured coffee on her porch and offered a lifeline. 3 afternoons a week while the kids are in school. Pays slim, but it's honest. I grabbed it like oxygen. Shelving books, stamping cards, guiding small fingers to the right shelf. Simple tasks that stitched a new thread into my identity. Between her coins and Benjamin's erratic checks, we scraped by. I darned socks until they shone, turned Sunday roast into Monday hash, coaxed tomatoes from every spare inch of dirt. Mary, 6 now, asked the hard questions. Did Daddy stop loving us? I knelt to her level. Grown up sometimes grow apart. He loves you always. We're building our own team. John, 4, just wanted his shoelaces tied. I taught him the bunny ears trick because Mommy's hands were full. Nights after tucking them in, I let the tears fall, fear, fatigue, but also a fizzy taste of freedom. September brought a letter from Principal Amelia, a maternity leave vacancy, 1st grade. Mrs. Connie brags about you nonstop. Can you start Monday? I walked into that classroom trembling, chalk dust in my nose, 20 pairs of wide eyes on me. Within a week I was drawing cats on the board and hearing, "Teacher Charlotte," like music. The kids didn't care that I was that woman. They cared that I read, the pokey little puppy with voices. Money stayed tight, but the hours fit like gloves. I loved watching a child sound out cat and beam like the sun rose inside them. Christmas 1965 was lean, hand-whittled toys, cookies cut into stars. But the tree smelled of pine and possibility. Mary asked, "Are you happy, Mom?" I hugged her close. I'm learning a new kind of happy, just for us. A 1966 opened doors. The maternity teacher returned, but Amelia slid me into a permanent aide slot. January brought Benjamin's first visit, nervous, thinner, gifts clutched like apologies. I stayed in the kitchen, watching through the window as he pushed John on the swing. Before leaving, he lingered on the porch. You look strong. I smiled, small but real.